All right, day 5. Burden. What is a burden a character is willing to carry until the end? Intellect. Full of woe. Superheroes. I think this counts. I think I can stretch this. I I have a fantasy heartbreaker, sci-fi fantasy heartbreaker that I've been working on the side for, I don't know, it's probably 2018, 2017 maybe, late 2017, early 2018. I've been working on this. Um, on and off, not continuously. And it does feel like a burden because every time I read, I think of something, like, oh, how can I'm constantly, not constantly, but oftentimes I go and think about it. And now that I'm running a game, so I'm thinking about it even more. It's just, I don't know. It's a hard one, you know. Oh yeah, but it don't be. I don't know. You tweak and you tweak, and I've completely rewritten it. Completely rewrote it once. Thought of a way to completely rewrite it again, and then I kind of don't have a didn't completely rewrite it again, and now it's like, well, keep making tweaks. Literally, the only thing I have set in stone are the stats, and that is only because I have still skills, characteristics, and other important numbers like HP and stamina kind of numbers. I have all 26 letters of the alphabet uniquely paired to one of those numbers. She could say 26 stats. Well, that's all the skills and all the characteristics and all the 3 HP tiers and the number meaning stamina are all given unique things, and the skills make up most of that. 10 characteristics and 4 other numbers. Skills make up about half of that. Can I remember them off the top of my head? A is attunement. V is battle. Those are like the special ones. Those are kind of skills, kind of characteristics. Attunement is like your magical aptitude, but not really. Battle is combat skill. C is, I want to say, composure. D is demeanor. E is what did I say E was? I can't remember E. F is frontiersmanship. G is gregariousness. H is hermetics. Aptitude is the skill of, is the attunement is characteristic associated with magic, but all the characteristics can be associated with magic. Hermetics is the skill associated with caster magic, with arcane magic. I think is intelligence. J is judiciousness. K Then I have is K. Cannot remember off the top of my head. L. Don't remember. M. Don't remember. N. Don't remember. O. Also don't remember. P is panache. Q. I had a good one for Q. I had like an actual word that didn't feel forced for Q. I remember that. I can't remember it now. R is ritual, which is like using technology and divine magic. S, I think, is strength. T might have been toughness. Could be something else though. U, don't know. V, I can't remember. W was wisdom. X is the only one that I didn't do proper. X was exhaustion. EX, but you know, abbreviating that as X is okay. Y, I can't remember. And Z was zenith. Anyway, and then, so I think current state, current state I have it, all the stats are given dice on a dice chain, but all the dice on the dice chain are things you can do with the D6. So they are like negative 1d6 or 1d3 or just a regular d6, d6 plus 1, zeros in there, that kind of stuff. So in rolling, you roll 1d6 and 1 exploding d10, and you'll always be given 2 of those numbers to roll. And so the lower of the 2 is what you treat the d6 as. You just take the d6 from that. And then the higher of the 2 you take the modifier from. So if it's d6 plus 1 is the higher one is. And the lower one is d3. You'd roll the exploding d10 and the d6. And you'd treat the d6 as a d3, but you'd add 1 to the result. That's always the same 2 dice for every roll. It's always it's an interesting curve. It's getting better doesn't necessarily increase your value. And then major failures is which doesn't always happen. It doesn't always mean anything. It could just mean a regular failure. But in some situations I wanted it was if you roll, if both the 6 and the 10 come up as 1, unless the d6 roll was unless the lower of the 2 dice on the chain was 0 or negative d6, and then just the d10 has to come up as a 1. And that is, so the worse you are, the higher a chance you have at crit failing. But it's never that high of a chance of crit failing. It's still more than 1%, which might be bad, but Um, very good, very good. You're not a chance. And maybe say if that gets high enough, you need to confirm. Yeah, probably have a. If it gets high enough, you need to confirm. See, this is a burden if I start thinking about it, talking about it. Now, the lore-wise, I've changed around a little bit. I do want to focus on a huge galaxy and like every kind of traveler scale world here. And I have some ideas of, it's, like 3 major empires have risen and fallen, but because the galaxy is so huge, not all of their outposts of any of the 3 major empires know they have fallen. Truck behind me was going and it sounded like a footstep. But I don't know. It's like, what do I do? How do I want to do it? I don't want to do space travel. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I did have the idea and executed in the one campaign I did of this, and I liked it. And I'd probably do something similar in official lore. I'd keep this idea. Is an interstellar subway system, interstellar public transportation, but it's so old. It's automatic interstellar public transportation. It's so old, and it can automatically repair itself, and no one really knows what's going on with it. But there are like public stations, and people do use it to travel between star systems. But you still need at least a small ship to get to the thing, so it's there's taxis and stuff. I think it's a cool idea, and like there's some Lovecraftian creatures lurking in it. It's a good storytelling device. It lets you have the players move around. It lets the players. You can give them a subway map, and you see this in-universe subway map that might not be to scale because real subway maps are not to scale. And it's a really cool way to do it. I had some ideas of Kahuna, like Kahuna and Mana were the 2 words I was using. Like you have some special element to you that makes you different from most people. And the galaxy is huge, so there can be, if it's only, 1 in 20 billion people have this special thing, the galaxy is so huge that there are hundreds of them at any given time, and something about gravity and magnetism and how they attract each other. But I don't know if I want to fly with that. I want to really go with that. And like there's an inefficient empire that's currently in charge and it's currently falling apart, but like there's the other governments that still, it's like the Japanese soldier who thought World War II went on for 20 more years kind of thing. They think they're still in charge. Just because the galaxy is so huge, you can't tell everyone that when things happen like that, and it might be millions of years before someone figures something like that out. I don't know. There's lots of lore ideas I have there. Magic-wise, definitely some combination of DCC and Fantasy Flight Star Wars. But I'm not sure what combination of those two. A finite limited spell list is an interesting tool I like to play with. players haven't realized it in my current campaign, Harby, you're listening to this, so you know this and no one else does. There is a finite, limited spell list that I have written. I'm expanding it a little bit because I kind of get caught up in the higher level stuff, but it's not even expanding that much. I think the plan I have to expand it most adding 20 new spells, but currently I have at most less than this. I have less than this, but I don't remember exactly. There's some overlapping spell lists, but there's only 6 unique spell lists, and each of the spell lists have what was it? 5 level 1 spells, 5 level 1 spells, 4 level 2 spells, 3 level 3 spells. There's only 6 unique lists, right? 6 unique lists. Some overlap in those lists. Actually, there's a 7th list, but it's 100% overlap. Nothing unique to that list. And then four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want to say 9 or 10 minor lists that have at most one spell per level, but less than that on average. Is that a giant mosquito? Maybe some old, whatever it was I squashed it with my arm, I didn't realize. And I like that idea of a very small finite list of spells that have different ways of casting them. That kind of morph and change. So I think my last time I wrote a list of spells, I had 6 or 7, I want to say, spells, and they all had different. Had like a ton of different modifiers you could put on them. You could that for my sci-fi fantasy art right there. There's like 6 or 7 spells, and they had a ton of different ways you could cast those spells and modifiers you could put on them. So like there was the only one I actually wrote up in full was a shield spell. So you could cast it and it would reduce the damage taken, if any damage is taken. But you could reverse it to reduce somebody's armor and then do damage after the armor was reduced. And that would, instead of taking an amount of time to cast, that would make it an instant. I think you still have to touch them, but then there was one modifier where it could be at ranged, and then there was another modifier where you could, instead of in addition to the effects that were already on it, you could make it like a spacesuit. You can make it so it would let you breathe in space. So in the short term, if you knew you were going to be going into space, you could cast it normally, and then people would be able to breathe in space. Then, cast it on the party normally, and they'd be able to breathe in space, wouldn't need to carry around spacesuits. If you had a surprise decompression, you could still cast it on everybody, but you'd be doing damage every time you cast it, because the only way to make the spell instant was to do the damaging version of it that reduced people's armor. But you could put the spacesuit modifier on that, and it wouldn't reverse the spacesuit modifier. It would still make it a spacesuit. Oh, This is vaguely related to burden. This is a burden I am carrying till the end. I am a character in a way. Intellect related. This causes me very much woe. It is a superheroic, at least the version that I had written that got play tested was a superheroic tier. I probably would, in my modern gaming style, would drop it well below superheroic tier, but superheroic tier. And I know the genre is superheroes, not zero to hero to superhero. Dynamic, but whatever.